In India, in 2025, over half of PepsiCo's sales volume came from drinks which are labeled as low or no sugar. Now, it sounds like India is undergoing some kind of a health awareness revolution, but really that isn't the case. It actually boils down to this really intense price war that is playing out. For years, and I'm sure you know about this, Coke and Pepsi treated their sugar free sodas like premium products. They were always priced higher and sold mostly in big cities aimed at fitness conscious buyers. Regular colas stayed cheap, they were everywhere, and they dominated sales. And then, in March this year, Reliance relaunched its nostalgic Campa Cola brand at rock bottom prices, just 10 rupees a bottle. And then, Reliance being Reliance, pulled off the ultimate disruptor move. It launched a zero sugar version of Campa Cola at the same price, 10 rupees. Suddenly, Coke and Pepsi were left cornered. If they wanted to compete, they couldn't just fight Campa Cola on taste or nostalgia. They had to fight it on price. And the only way to do that and still protect their margins was to flood the market with cheap zero sugar sodas of their own. So they did. Overnight, India saw 10 rupee bottles of Coke Zero, Pepsi No Sugar, Sprite Zero, and Thumbs Up X Force everywhere, from metro supermarkets to tier 2 town kirana stores. And now, it looks like their bets have paid off. Because you see, zero sugar drinks actually cost less to make. Artificial sweeteners are cheaper than sugar. Even production is simpler and less messy compared to sugar. And since regular and diet soda sell at the same price, the companies quietly make more money on the healthier option. But here's the catch. Beneath the labels, the promises, and the marketing spin, what are we really drinking? And is this really about health? Welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from the Ken. I'm your host Snigdha Sharma, and I don't chase the news cycle. Instead, every day of the week, my colleague Rachel Varghese and I will come to you with one business story that is worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Tuesday, the 30th of September. The zero sugar explosion didn't just come out of nowhere. The ground was already shifting. Back in 2024, demand for low and no sugar drinks doubled to almost $85 million. And this is based on data from the Indian Beverage Association. So, what used to be a tiny segment of the market has now suddenly become more than one-tenth of it. Big cities like Bombay, Delhi, and Bangalore were leading the charge at the beginning, but soon, Tier 2 towns started drinking zero sugar sodas too. What was once a premium product became the everyday choice. Investor Nitin Shagdher, who backs Pepsi's Indian bottling partner Varun Beverages, told my colleague, the Ken reporter Pranati DVLS, that just like how people upgraded in categories like shampoos and detergents, now they see sugar-free sodas the same way. It's not a luxury, it's a norm. Reliance pushed it even further. In August this year, it took control of Nature Edge beverages and launched Shunya, a zero-calorie cola infused with Indian herbs and marketed as quote-unquote functional wellness. The price was 60 rupees. Healthier image, bigger margins. But how healthy is it actually? That is a whole different story, and I will tell you about it later in the episode. But analysts say that the economics of all of this was irresistible. Sugar is expensive. A 10 rupee soda with sugar costs about 5 to 5.5 rupees to make. And the same soda without sugar is just 4 rupees. That is a 5 to 10% boost to the company's bottom line. Artificial sweeteners also simplify production. There's no messy sugar syrup, no sticky residues, less cleaning, and the best part, faster output. And since Coke and Pepsi price regular and diet sodas identically now, 40 rupees for a 300 ml can, there is no barrier for customers to switch. Distribution also helps. Both companies run plants across India, each serving a 200-kilometer radius. Smaller brands, on the other hand, which often ship nationwide from a single factory, end up spending a lot more on logistics. By early 2025, Varun Beverages reported selling nearly 400 million cases of low and no sugar drinks in one quarter, more than the previous quarter, and over half of PepsiCo's sales now comes from these variants. Consumers barely noticed the change, but companies definitely did. But how healthy are these low or no sugar drinks? Stay tuned to find out. The story is not as clean as the labels make it out to look. Industry insiders warn of deceptive labeling. A soda might claim no artificial sweeteners on its pack but will still contain stevia. Others say no aspartame while containing erythritol. Erythritol is basically a sugar alcohol used as a low calorie sweetener. A 2025 University of Colorado study found that it could harm blood vessels in the brain and raise chances of strokes. And as for aspartame, which is used widely in Diet Coke, the WHO in 2023 said that it is possibly carcinogenic. Even Pepsi Sting, which is marketed as low sugar, mixes natural and artificial sugars. The ingredients have kept changing over the decades. Sugar built the first cola empires. Then came artificial sweeteners for diabetics in the late 1980s, and then came the energy drinks with caffeine. By 2023, India was drinking more than 570 million liters of energy drinks, which was a 30 times increase since 2018. Now, zero sugar sodas are overtaking even energy drinks in sales, becoming the mainstream alternative to regular colas. Now, the Indian government, in its recent GST overhaul, grouped all carbonated drinks, sugar or no sugar, with tobacco and pan masala as sin goods and slapped them all with a flat 40% GST. In response, the Indian Beverage Association petitioned the Finance Ministry to switch to sugar based taxation. They argued that quote unquote healthier alternatives should not face the same penalty as full sugar sodas. Analysts also seem to agree. A sugar based tax could push more brands to sell zero sugar drinks at affordable prices like 10 to 20 rupees. Meanwhile, consumer behavior seems to split into two camps. Price conscious buyers in small towns simply seem to grab the cheapest sodas available, sugar or no sugar. Health conscious urban consumers order the 40 rupees zero sugar cans on delivery apps, thinking they are making the better choice. But both of these groups together are ultimately fueling the growth of these cola giants. As one investor put it, whenever a company enters a new category, costs rise first, then volumes rise, because the consumer is headed that way. And right now, the consumer is headed straight for the zero sugar aisle. But zero sugar does not mean zero risk. Long-term health effects of these sugar replacements are still unclear.
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of The Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings, and a full subscription offers daily, long-form feature stories, newsletters, and a whole bunch of premium podcasts. To subscribe, head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on the top of the website. Today's episode was hosted and produced by my colleague Snigdha Sharma and edited by Rajiv CN.